Well, hello, students. In this particular chapter, we are going to talk about first defining leadership and distinguishing it from management. Okay, so our first question is obviously, what is leadership and what distinguishes it from management? And this is a subject I've had a passion for so many years. Leadership includes the process and behaviors used by someone, such as a manager, to do the following: motivate, inspire, and influence the behavior of others. So, that being the definition, let's differentiate between leadership and management. Leadership differs from management a number of ways. A leader can be a manager, a leader can be a leader, or both, or neither. Management focuses primarily on the activities of, which we just talked about, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Leadership, in contrast, is much more closely related to activities such as agenda setting, aligning, inspiring, monitoring, very much in close proximity to the functions. Organizations need both management and leadership if they are to be effective. Management, in conjunction with leadership, can help achieve planned orderly change, and leadership, in conjunction with management, can keep the organization properly aligned with its environment. Now, there are different types of leadership and power. And if we put them together, let's talk about how leadership chimes in with power. There is legitimate power, reward power, coercive power, referent power, and expert power. Legitimate power is power granted through the organizational hierarchy. You get hired for a company as a vice president or a director or a supervisor. The company designates a certain type of power for you, whether you deserve it or not, but that's what they hired you at for a particular salary. And this gives you a certain amount of authority. Then you have reward power. Reward power is the power to give or withhold rewards that range from salary increases to praise to interesting job assignments. If the subordinate values formal organizational rewards, the manager is not a leader. If the subordinate values informal rewards, such as praise and recognition, not necessarily attached to money, the manager is showing leadership. Coercive power is the power to force compliance by means of psychological, emotional, or physical threat. It is accepted that these are not appropriate managerial behaviors, but yet they still do exist. And a manager uses this kind of power is going to be most likely to provoke resentment and hostility, and is less likely to be seen as a leader. Now, on the other hand, you have referent power. Referent power is power based on identification, imitation, loyalty, or charisma. That means you influence others just by how you are. This is an abstract and based on followers identifying in some way with the leader, who may like them in personality, background, or attitudes. Charisma is an intangible attribute that attracts loyalty and enthusiasm. Finally, expert power is power derived from information or expertise. The more important the information and the fewer people who have access to it, the greater the degree of expert power possessed by any one individual. Generally, people who are both leaders and managers tend to have large amounts of expert power. They're put in a position because they understand their game. They know what they're good at. They know that their subordinates know that they know what they're talking about. And this is important. So, what I want you to do now is reflect for 5 minutes on what distinguishes leadership from management. And this is the end of phase 1 of today's lecture.